po at mabuhay ang filosofiya.
Thank you very much, Sir David Floyd. Ayan, so lahat ng pumalak. The Faculty of the College of Social Sciences and
Good morning, my dear BULSUans, to our esteemed faculty and guests. Our speaker for today is currently a full-time faculty member at Mapua University's Department of Liberal Arts under the School of Foundational Studies and Education. He is also a visiting faculty under the College of Education, Liberal Arts and Sciences of Colegio de San Juan de Letran. Assistant Professor Carion graduated with a degree Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Colegio de San Juan de Letran in 2022. And he is currently taking his doctorate under the College of Education, Doctor of Philosophy, Liberal Arts and Sciences, the Lateran's program at the De La Salle University. He completed the component Assistant Professor Carion graduated with a Masters in Teaching Bachelor of Arts in December of 2020 Colegio de San Juan de Letran. In between the years 2014 to 2017, and he is currently taking his doctorate the Immaculate Conception Seminary, Liberal Arts and Sciences, and earned the program at the De La Salle University. Recently, he completed the component Assistant Professor Carion graduated with a Masters in Teaching Bachelor of Arts in December of 2023 Colegio de San Juan de Letran. In between the years 2014 he is also a member of the Immaculate Conception Seminary, Liberal Arts and Sciences, and earned the program at the De La Salle papers. Recently, he completed the component Assistant Professor Carion graduated with a Masters in Teaching Bachelor of Arts in December of Comparative Colegio de San Juan de Letran. In the years, higher education is also a member of the Immaculate Conception. He is also a co-proponent in the research paper entitled Understanding Student Cheating with Generative AI Through the Lens of the Theory of Planned Behavior. Recently, he was appointed as the chairperson of the Institutional and School Activities Committee of the School of Foundational Studies and Education. His research interests are those that are concentrated on political philosophy, political science, philosophy of mind, and the philosophy of science. My dear brethren, let us all stand as we welcome Assistant Professor Rodrigo Emil Carion.
Well, Sir Gerald already mentioned that I was a seminarian before, so I've been here in Bulacan for almost 3 years, so 2014 to 2017. But this is the first time I have stepped in the campus of the Bulacan State University. No? So, yeah, and I'm very glad to see many students here with us today. Sir Roy is here, the Dean of Student Affairs. So, my early morning of Thursday. Katatapos lang ng inyong earthquake drill. Kamusta naman po kayo? How is everyone? Not so good? Good? Kanina, no, Sir Floyd asked, are we still thinking? Are we still humans? And for me to ascertain that, to those who are thinking, can we all clap our hands? Okay, they are all thinking. Right. So, another thing, no? I asked Sir Gerald what are your programs, no? Your courses you're currently taking, no? Some of which say you are from the education program, some from psychology, engineering, from the business sector, and so on. Now, again, no, doing philosophy in early morning of a Thursday. May I just ask one question before I proceed with my talk proper? Sino po dito yung umattend ng hindi ni-require? Or lahat kayo required umattend? Walang mga teachers na nakikinig. Walang professors na nakikinig. No? Okay, sige. So, I know your sentiments as well. No? But nonetheless, I hope you will find this morning's talk as a good avenue, no? Not just for us to have a dialogue, but for also amongst yourselves, also have a discussion on this matter. I think the importance of us having a discourse on this is not only to ascertain if we are still thinking, if we are still humans, but we might as well reflect on our reliance on AI, on artificial intelligence, no? One of our findings is that most often than not, students consult AI for the very banal tasks of even writing an essay. And personal reflection essay. I mean, that should sound already with bells and whistles for us, right? Because it's a personal experience essay. And then you will consult someone who is not, or I would not call it someone, but something that is not personal to you. So, I mean, that particular part in Philippine academia is something that we also need to check on. But AI has moved from research laboratories to classrooms, hospitals, courts, and social networks. No? Even right now, I'm not so sure if you are, what is your online meeting platform? You use Zoom? If you use Zoom, there is already what we call a, what? AI companion, right? And what does the AI companion do? Right? The AI companion, one who summarizes the meeting. After, for example, a recorded Zoom meeting, and then after probably maximum of 15 minutes, kung medyo mabagal-bagal ang ating internet, no? An email will be sent to you. Here are the assets for your Zoom meeting and so on and so forth. And AI does the summary already. Before, when we were using Zoom without the AI companion, we have to appoint one who will take the minutes of the meeting, correct? But now, of course, we still do that, but now, we more often than not are more confident with the AI companion rather than dun sa kaklase mong nagmi-minutes di umano ng meeting. No? So a lot of you probably are student leaders, you're aware of what I am saying. So, well, it has changed the landscape of decision making and redefined what counts as intelligence. Yet the question persists, everyone. I would like to give you this question. No? What happens to knowledge? Because you're overflowed with knowledge, especially with artificial intelligence right at our fingertips. Right now, you are on your phones, no? And it's okay, no problem about that. If you're taking notes, you're probably recording, that's fine. You're students, I have been a student before, I know what you're doing. And probably you're taking notes as well using your AI companion, no? So the question now persists, what happens to knowledge when machines begin to quote and unquote think for us? Like for example, the circumstance I was telling you a while ago, no? Students consult AI for a personal reflection essay. So, are we the ones in charge of giving the permission for AI to quote and unquote think? That's something that we also may want to reflect on. That's why my lecture today will not be so much about technicalities. Kaya later on, baka nga matawa pa kayo sa mga susunod na slides. I will not present frameworks. I will not present very memorization fit slides. But I would like to share this discussion with you so that we may be able to have a healthy discourse on the matter. This lecture is not a technical survey of AI algorithms. It is a philosophical discussion. A discussion through, as what Sir Floyd has have mentioned, no? Through the times of ancient philosophy, medieval philosophy, modern philosophy, and the contemporary period of philosophy. Now, artificial intelligence has been the emergent technology during our times now. But what would have been the reflections of these past philosophers had they been exposed to the technology of artificial intelligence? Next slide po. I want to ask this question. Just park these questions in your head, and then later on let's answer them. Hopefully we can answer them either by the end of my talk or by the end of the entire event. We have smart machines, smartphones, smart TVs, smart washing machines, no? We have smart machines, but are we any wise? Or have we become reliant on their quote and unquote smartness? The next question to ponder. Have we made machines intelligent? Or have we made intelligence mechanical? Have we given the permission for machines to be intelligent? Have we programmed them to be quote and unquote intelligent? Or have we made this so-called concept of intelligence become very, very much mechanical? Meaning to say one that is derived of a contraption. No? Now, the central concern here arises from the ethical use of emergent technologies in higher education and society at large. The proliferation of AI has provoked policymakers, educators, and philosophers alike to ask this question: how shall we use technology responsibly? AI AI is a form of technology. And I get it that we are already into the understanding of AI. But sometime before, people were also into the understanding of the first Macintosh computers. Sometime before, people were also into the understanding of the Gutenberg press, right? You have your STS, Science, Technology, and Society, no? So I assume most often than not, you have gone through these lessons. Now, later I will pose a question that will probably encapsulate um, what our reflections might be on this matter. Next slide. So here are our objectives, no? So we will trace the epistemological evolution of science and technology. When we say epistemological, meaning to say, well, I did not to belabor on that, but your professors have already probably taught you that. But it is one that is connected with the theories of knowledge and the acquisition of that particular knowledge. And then the second objective, from artificial intelligence, we are going to re-examine this AI phenomenon, not just AI as a technology, but the AI phenomenon through different philosophical lenses through time. Okay? And there, a certain technology to its ancient moral purpose, human flourishing. Your philosophy teachers would have said, human flourishing, eudaimonia. We'll try to unpack all these things in a matter of probably 40 minutes. I hope that we can cover all of them. Next slide. Okay. So here are the representative philosophers which I would like to talk about later on. Aristotle, representative of the ancient period of philosophy. William of Ockham, the twilight of the medieval time period, meaning to say transitioning to modern. René Descartes, of course, you probably have heard of who René Descartes is, but we will try to delve a little bit on him later. And Martin Heidegger, Karl Popper for the contemporary philosophical lens on artificial intelligence. So why these representative philosophers? Although they do not have direct claims of our modern technology, but they offer a certain, let's say, paradigm or approach towards how we are able to handle innovation and the emerging advances of the time. So, across them, appears not as a abrupt or a rupture, but rather as, let's say, a culmination of this knowledge trajectory, or what we have in mind for the purpose of the existence of AI. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so ganyan ang mga makikita yung slides. No? All of these are memes and so on. So this is Aristotle. He says, some men just want to watch the movies. So, but I am sure in your ancient and medieval philosophy, you have already belabored on Aristotle. No? So, what do I want to talk about Aristotle? Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics divided knowledge into three domains. You have to remember this. We have the episteme, the techne, and the phronesis. The episteme, the scientific, demonstrative knowledge, seeking the causes. What caused this? What caused that? What's the stuff of this? How did this originate? And so on. The techne is the craft knowledge, technique, productive skill, guided by method. And the phronesis is practical wisdom concerned with ethical action. For Aristotle, all forms of knowing are teleological. Teleological meaning to say leading to an end. No? They aim toward, what's the aim of Aristotle? Diba? To which human flourishing is also associated. Aristotle's aim is towards the good life. Knowledge is meaningful when ordered toward human flourishing. Ano ba itong human flourishing na ito? Ito ba yung pag nasa classroom kayo, naglilinis kayo ng sahig, no? Nagpa-polish? But human flourishing is beyond that, no? Beyond excellence. Human flourishing is a practice of virtue. No? Are you virtuous people, mga students of BULSU? Hindi na sila virtuous. Inaantok na kasi sila. Right. No? But, so, how does this provide a lens for artificial intelligence? How does this illuminate AI? Most AI systems today embody the technique, no? The procedures generating outcomes, but rarely episteme. So AI now is an advancement of the technique. AI now seeks to amplify the technique, but rarely the episteme. No? So, yeah, they often lack causal explanation. They predict but do not demonstrate. They simulate but do not comprehend. Remember that. They simulate but do not comprehend. No? There was a meme last night. I was scrolling through my IG account. No? There was a meme about students trying to prompt ChatGPT to do this essay and do that and so on. Pero hindi mag-gets ni ChatGPT yung pinapagawa. At ang ginawa ng student ay hinampas na yung computer. Kasi hindi mag-gets ni ChatGPT yung pinapagawa ng estudyante, no? Because I believe there's some truth in that it simulates, yes, but it does not fully comprehend. In the absence of this, technology risks losing its moral compass. If a predictive model decides to, let's say, get a scholarship, get a loan, or the ethical judgment behind that decision must still belong to the human person. It must still belong to the human person. I am reminded of one of our seminars, no, which Sir Jai and I attended in Mapua University, because we are about to offer the Bachelor of Science major in Artificial Intelligence Engineering, right? And so one of our guest speakers from the UK, no, from Cambridge, he said that this particular program is good, but it cannot prosper without an ethical framework. And thus, I am also saying to you, dear students, no, you probably already have a lot of workload now. I can see some people taking notes. I can see some people recording, probably because it's a requirement of one of your professors in their subjects. But nonetheless, we are not looking at the mere accomplishment of that activity, but rather the reflection which you can get out of that activity. More than the technique, we are more interested in the episteme and the phronesis behind it. Aristotle would remind us, we do not study ethics to know what virtue is, but to become virtuous. So too, we should not build or capitalize on artificial intelligence merely to know what intelligence is, but rather to become and to strive to be intelligent. Okay? One down, 4 to go. William of Ockham. Next slide. Okay, why is it a razor? Is anyone familiar with William of Ockham? Have you encountered him? in any of your studies before. No? So, William of Ockham is a medieval philosopher, but he existed during the twilight of medieval philosopher, transitioning to the Renaissance period. No? So, he is famous for Ockham's razor. What is Ockham's razor? Mas matalas ba yan sa Gillette? No? Mas matalas ba yan sa mga razor na meron tayo ngayon? At pipiliin natin ang Ockham's razor. Ockham's razor is a method of simplification of ideas. No? Not to be reductionist, but to merely simplify. Meaning to say, to shred out the unnecessary information and to come up with only the core of an idea. And that's Ockham's position on the matter. So William of Ockham challenges the realism of universals. No? Only particulars exist. Universals are mere names. So from this, Ockham's razor came about. Do not multiply entities beyond necessity. In other words, let us not parrot, let us not over-explain on certain matters, but rather we focus on the core, and that should be our the topic or core of our idea. How is this now related to our reflection of artificial intelligence? In machine learning data sets, people become data point rows in a table. We become diminished to what we call a data. When, for example, you are not really diminished, no? But we become somewhat parts of a data. Let's say, kasi wala nang gumagawa ata ngayon ng census, no? But you know what a census is? What's a census? Pumunta ako sa isa-isa, no? But a census is something that the PSA does, no? It counts how many are you in the family, and so on and so forth. Usually, nangyayari ito bago ang election. I remember the last census was done prior to an election. But nonetheless, no, strike that off the record, Your Honor. So, a census is, counting the population. And these particular counts become part of a certain data set. Our names then become part of the data. So, this particular action, actually accelerates analysis, right? It boosts up the analysis, whatever the purpose of that data gathering procedure might be. But, okay, so when we use AI, napakadali na lang kasi mag-analyze ngayon. Just to share, no? This week, I have been with 2 paneling sessions. So for the both schools which I do service on. Now there is this one thesis defender who analyzed his data using AI without the usage of verificatory tools. Now, good thing I have an AI detector. So I was able to detect it. I was able to call out the student. But the question is this. Is there anything wrong with using artificial intelligence to analyze these data sets? I want you to position yourself on the student and then try to make sense of my question. What will be your answer? So I will no longer ask kasi baka magkaiba-iba kayo, mag-away pa tayo dito. But is it all wrong to use artificial intelligence for analyzing data? Because tama, artificial intelligence can do it 10 times faster. There is simplicity in doing it. There might be a little bit of accuracy. But what the problem is for that is this. It risks erasing context and meaning. Yes, they are able to analyze it. But mere analysis alone does not guarantee context and meaning. a predictive model such as that of AI that labels a student, quote and unquote, at risk may conceal poverty, pedagogy, or psychological struggle behind a mere statistical token. Ano yung sabi nga nila? Ang Pilipino naman daw kayang mabuhay ng may kumikita ng 1,000 kada araw. No? 1,000 per day. Kaya naman daw mabuhay ng isang Pilipino. Do you agree? I myself do not. Kasi pamasahe pa lang, di ba? Grabe, terrible na ang pamasahe ngayon. And aside from that, mataas na rin ang mga bilihin. So, these mere statistical tokens may conceal an underlying or, factors that have much more context sana and have much more meaning had we not been too quick onto having this statistical data. Thus, that particular artificial intelligence asserts as somewhat of an Occam's razor. But here is my warning to everyone. Thus, Occam's razor, when sharpened too finely, cuts through the flesh, and it hurts. And that's my take on Occam's razor. 2 down, 3 to go. Next slide. Are you familiar with Rene Descartes? You're familiar with his cogito argument, right? Can everybody say the cogito argument? Isa pa. Let's say the cogito argument in 3, 2, 1. I think, therefore I am. Right? Right. So enough of the memes, no? But Descartes somewhat revolutionized knowledge by proposing a much more mechanistic attack on nature or view of nature. No? So in the Discourse of Method, which Descartes authored, he sought certainty through rational deduction, cogito ergo sum, as what you have mentioned, and imagined the world as a vast machine, a big machine, governed by certain mechanical and mathematical algorithms. So AI somewhat extends this Cartesian project. No? Cognitive functions become computable. Reasoning now, quote and unquote, becomes or is reduced to mere algorithms. But later, I will prove you that there is still hope for the will of man. But the Cartesian legacy bears this cost. It divides the world into thinking thing and extended thing. So when intelligence itself is externalized into machinery, where does human subjectivity remain? When we are viewed as mere machines, is there still space for what makes us humans, like that of our explicit subjectivity, such as that of expression of trust, expression of kindness, of love, for example? Can we still love if we are thought to be machines? I should warn people about this, but because it's out in the open, there are already AI character dating apps. AI, and then you can chat with it the way you want it to be chatted. No? I have to warn you with that, no? Because while I do not demonize AI, I am much more concerned of human fragility towards that. And, as what I have mentioned a while ago, have we already given the permission for artificial intelligence to be actually intelligent? Okay, ito yung sinasabi natin. Minsan, no, I have encountered during a research project when they said that it is much more better to converse with AI daw than of humans because the AI thing, the AI dating app, no, alam daw ng AI yung gusto niya, napapakinggan yung algorithms niya, no, alam kung ano yung trajectory ng boses niya, kung paano, well, AI knows how to do things and so on. But again, I will go back to what I have mentioned a while ago. It stimulates, yes, and everything that overstimulates is addictive. So we have to be warned with that. So, where does human subjectivity remain if we are into that kind of parlance already? No? Ngayon, meron ng mga technologies like the autonomous systems, self-driving cars by Tesla. No? There are already algorithmic trading bots. Algorithmic trading bots, yung minsan kausap mo lang yung kaklase mo tungkol sa gusto mong ipa-check out sa Shopee, wala pang 3 minuto, meron ka nang i-check out sa Shopee kasi magbibigay na siya ng fee sa iyo. Minsan mo lang maklik yung gusto mong sapatos, no, na bago, or let's say iPhone 17 Pro Max. No? Kami mga naka-iPhone 17 dito. So, and then, may mga offers na siya sa FB. Pay in 48 months. Oh, di ba? Pay 48 months. Grabe, 4 years? Sana all. But, you know, the point being is that it's already in the open. It's already proliferating. And we must guard ourselves to remain. That we ask the question, where does the human subjectivity lie? The Cartesian dream of perfect rational control thus reemerges as the algorithmic dream of total prediction. Remember that, total prediction. And I want you to remember the term prediction because that plays a huge role in our discourse later on, as it merely predicts only. Next slide. Serious yan kasi favorite philosopher ko ito. Do you know who this is? Hindi siya artista, but that is Martin Heidegger. No? So, Martin Heidegger warns that technology is not neutral. That's his take on the matter. No? But we can also reflect on it. It is a way of revealing. No? Revealing. Meaning to say, opening, no? Or being exposed, being explicit. That enframes reality as a resource. When everything becomes resource, even humans are reduced to mere reserves alone. So, the term quote and unquote datafication, when we become mere parts and parcels of data, when datafication exemplifies this enframing in AI systems, every action, your phone clicks, your movements, probably your emotions as well, become mere data to be either mined or exploited. Now the world appears only as a potential input for algorithms. I quote Heidegger in his manuscript on the essence of technology is by no means anything technological. What he means is that technology organizes our perception, such as your AI, such as social media right now. It affects our perceptions. most probably than not, it may also organize how we think. It defines what can appear as meaningful. AI's danger then is not just automation, but existential reduction. When we succumb to this kind of understanding, we become reduced to mere followers of that kind of enframing. But I will not belabor on that one. We come to see ourselves only through data mirrors. I am not sure if this is also applied already in higher education institutions, but insofar as my knowledge is concerned, universities now adopt learning activities dashboard. You have your LMS, right? Your learning management system. What do you use? You use Google Classroom, Canvas, or Blackboard, no? And yeah, MS Teams, no? So, they adopt learning analytics, no? So, well, speaking from our university, no? We use Blackboard, diba, Sir Jai? And then there are certain modes of analysis or certain data sets that have been given based only on the analysis and the trajectory of the outputs of the students. So for example, there are an array of outputs, let's say 7 outputs from the students. Blackboard analyzes their comprehension, Blackboard analyzes their word variations, Blackboard analyzes their critical thinking, quote and unquote. But, well, at least us, liberal arts professors, we do not rely on that. Why? Because if we rely merely on data analysis, we might tend to overlook the core of student activities, the core of student assessments, and that is to actually have learning on the matter. I have experienced or encountered students who are actually good. Their writing is good, no? I have seen their works, but Blackboard analyzes them to be not so good because it only relies, no, on the very understanding of the data sets. That's bad, right? If we are not assertive of our will, it's good that we have the analysis for data sets. You're doing your research, right? Some of you probably are doing. Teachers, professors adjust methods to optimize scores. Students, aware of surveillance, learn to perform for metrics. Yan lagi natin sinasabi, no? It's good to have these metrics, no? I mean, I'm also speaking on behalf of our university because we are also dealt with metrics. Sino bang hindi, no? I believe I can also relate to our faculty members here, to the students, yung mga leaders ng student organizations. Di ba meron kayong mga KPI, no? Key Performance Indicators, may mga operational plans kayo. You have your metrics. But why do you do your thing? Why are you good at doing your thing? Why are you good at doing your elements? What is your motivation? Is it because at the end of the school year, you will be awarded Best Org kasi natapos mo yung organizational plan ninyo, your operational plan ninyo? Or is it because at the end of the school year, we will have our bonuses, no? Once we have our metrics. No? Well, that might be good when bonuses are good. But that should not be our main driver for doing what we do. Because in such context, these particular understanding, especially on the education parlance, risks becoming, quote and unquote, standing reserve. We become mere reserves. We become reduced to numbers. No? Heidegger would call this forgetting of being. We tend to forget the essence of our subjectivity. We no longer become subjects, but we understand and have come to terms to ourselves that we are objects, which is not something we want. And we have to be aware of it. And that's Martin Heidegger. Last slide. Yay? Last slide. Okay. Kita pa siya. So this is philosophers of science, no? And his argument, so bakit ganyan yung mean, skeptical laughter? Kasi for Popper, just to simplify everything, no? For Popper, the understanding of what truth is that it must be investigated through a certain and redefine science through falsifiability. A theory is scientific if it can be, in principle, be proven false. Because if it can be proven false, then therefore knowledge advances through those particular falseness or through those particular refutations and conjectures. AI research often violates this Popperian spirit, no? So, large language models, as what we call it, or deep learning models, generate results that are empirically robust, but theoretically unsound. Theoretically unsound. They offer predictions, but they do not have their hypothesis. If an AI model cannot explain why its output is true or under what conditions it would fail, then it cannot participate in the cycle of falsification that defines science. If Popper would have existed today, Popper would have said, those who claim to know are closing the door to learning. Therefore, there must be some sort of epistemic humility. And this humility must accompany technological power without falsifiability. AI ceases to be a science and, well, becomes, wag naman sana, AI now becomes faith. So our understanding of AI, we put our faith mostly on AI, no? Sino dito yung merong mga deadline ng 11:59, tapos 11 na, hindi pa niya nagagawa yung 1,200 pages. Pages, words naman pala, no? Words na pinapagawa ni Sir. No? So, Popper's lesson is clear. True knowledge demands the possibility of error. If it's too good to be true, institutions must then design AI audits that include counterfactual testing and openness to refutation. Okay, next slide. This is the question which I wanted to ask, no? Or I wanted you to ponder after all the philosophers have been discussed. This question has been given to us by Alan Turing, no? One of the philosophers who have been fascinated with technology and who first asserted the question, can machines think? I'll ask you the same question. Can machines think? So, today, large language models often pass this test. they converse convincingly. But we have to ascertain this, that these large language models merely stimulate, but they do not comprehend. And I would still like to give my assertion on that matter. Next slide. Let's go back to where we started, right? To the Aristotelian value of eudaimonia. How do we recover? First, we must understand purpose. What is the purpose of doing these things? We must return to Aristotelian ideal that the ultimate end of knowledge, end meaning goal, objective, right? The ultimate end of knowledge is flourishing, eudaimonia. An AI for flourishing agenda means that the success of a system should be measured not by mere accuracy, but by its contribution to human dignity and freedom. And at the end, well-being. Then, we go back to this particular understanding that the agenda of AI must always be for the purpose of explicating the excellence of the human person. And not the other way around, that the human person must deem the AI excellent. Because if that would be the case, then your teachers might have just graded AI, not you. Okay. Next slide. What do we do now? After listening to the series of philosophers, what will be our game plan? So, the only advice which I will be providing you is to simply reflect on the many questions which I have provided. Because every action that you do will still be incumbent only on the human person. And even if I tell you what to do, what not to do, and so on, then that would be very dictatorial. Then I am very much negating my understanding of freedom. Next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, just for summary, no? So, siguro ito yung pwede ninyong picturean kung requirement ito sa inyo. No? So, just for summary, we have tackled five philosophers. So, Aristotle, his concept of the techne and the episteme, no? And the AI manifestation of that. AI knows how, not why, no? And the reflection on that is knowledge needs telos, needs an objective, needs an end. For Occam, nominalism, no, data labels oversimplify, beware of ethical reduction. So we might oversimplify things to the point that we have become reductionists ourselves. Descartes on mechanism, mind as a machine, resist reduction of subjectivity, because in this manner we might become simply as objects. And then for Heidegger, in framing humans as data, preserve being and context. For Popper, falsifiability, the black box opacity, which I have discussed a while ago. So reclaim critical testing, not just because it is filled by data, does not mean that it is already a factor of faith and that it is gospel truth, no, that it can already save humanity and so on. Okay. Next slide. Okay. I am going to prove a point. Let's just try this experiment. Wherein we might realize, huwag niyo muna sundin, listen to me first. You might realize that the mention of artificial intelligence, because you might think that the human mind is weak, no, that it cannot or it can no longer ascertain its place in the time of artificial intelligence and so on. But I am going to remind you that the mind is very much powerful and that it is not incumbent on the artificial intelligence, but rather based on what we have experienced, and that it is based on the values upon which we were cultivated onto. Let's try this thought experiment. Huwag niyo munang i-next, no? Kasi pag na-next yan, malalaman nila ang sagot. Okay. Let's start. And we will do it one by one. Do we still have time po ba? Pasensya na po. I still have 10 minutes. Okay. Madali na lang to. 3 minutes tapos. Okay. So, people, I want your attention here for those who are still awake, no? Let's try this. Pick a number from 1 to 10. Only on your minds. Don't say it out. If you have already picked a number from 1 to 10, give me a thumbs up sign, everyone. Good. Okay. You might want to open your phones or calculators. Okay? Multiply that number by 9. Siyempre, magkukompute pa tayo dyan. Multiply that number by 9. If you have already multiplied your number by 9, give me a thumbs up. Good to proceed? Okay. You have a 2-digit number, correct? Correct? Right. That 2-digit number, subtract 5 from the sum of that 2-digit number. So you have to add the 2-digit numbers. And then after which, subtract number 5. Okay. Open your calculators, open your phones. Done? Give me a thumbs up. Medyo kumonte kasi may numbers na. Okay. Pumalakpak naman nga muna kayo. Okay. So, you have added the 2 digits already. Subtracted 5. Yes. Match it with a corresponding letter in the alphabet. Oh, what? May nagsalita eh. Masira na. Wala na. No. So, diba? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So, count. You have a letter on your head? Thumbs up sign? Let that letter remain on your head. Huwag niyong sasabihin sa katabi niyo. Sinasabi ko sa inyo. Okay. Think of a country. First country that you think of with that letter, that starts with that letter. Mabilisan lang. Meron na? Thumbs up? Okay. Then think of an animal that starts with the second letter. Second letter of that country. Mabilis lang. O may nagbubulungan. O, paano yan? Okay. O, sige. Sa isip lang ha, sa isip lang. Okay. You already have your animal? Wala ba? Bakit walang animal? Baka kinukuha pa sa zoo. Give me a thumbs up if you already have an animal on your minds. Visualize your animal. Ladies and gentlemen, next slide please. People, this is not some magic or something. These are patterns of understanding from our cultivated shared values. We were taught that when we engage with the letter E, it's immediately elephant. But it could have been an eagle. It could have been an eel. It could have been an ibis. Right? So, what was your country of mind? Denmark. Dubai? It could have been Djibouti. Diba? Baka may nagsabi ng Davao. So, all of these things, these are not manufactured by algorithms. These are our shared perceptions because this is how we were cultivated with these values when we were growing. And that's why, if we can engage into this kind of experiment, what is now stopping us from asserting our will in engaging AI? I have come to understand as well, maybe the human person also wants to engage in artificial intelligence. And there's nothing wrong with that. But only on the matter of making ourselves more intelligent, making ourselves flourish, and going back to the purpose of eudaimonia, human flourishing. So I hope artificial intelligence, the view of artificial intelligence is to help us improve ourselves, make us more intelligent, and to not make the machines more intelligent. Thank you very much for listening. Maraming salamat.
What's up, BULSU?
Good morning, everyone. So, for today, our performance is dedicated to everyone who's here. And we just want everyone to remember that being human is beautiful. For we are art. We feel. And through our song, we all feel deep.
Naku mong Kaibigan, huwag kang magpapatalo. Kaibigan, pasa mo. Dahil wala rin mangyayari, dahil walang mabawala. Huwag pigilan ang pagbuhos ng ulan. May panahon para maging hari, panahon para magtapat. Dahil ang buhay natin ay sayang naman. Umaraw, umuulan. Umaraw, umuulan. Ang buhay ay sayang ganyan. Umaraw, umuulan. Oo nga pala, hindi na pala tayo. Hanggang dito lang ako, nangarap na ako sa'yo. Hindi sinasayang, hanapin pa ang lugar ko. Nasaan ba ako? Nandiyan ko ba sa'yo? Ganito, asa ba sa'yo? Asa ba sa'yo? Ganito, ganito, asa ba sa'yo? Asa ba sa'yo? Nasusuka ako, hintayin na ako, masakit na magtukoy. Kailangan bang lumuhod? Gusto ko lang naman yung totoo. Hindi ko ang sagot, ang hiling isang tanong. Nahihilo, ganito, asa ba sa'yo? Asa ba sa'yo? Nahihilo, ganito, asa ba sa'yo? Asa ba sa'yo? Thank you so much! Alan! BULSU! Alan! Thank you so much, BULSU!
Sean po. Graciela. Graciela po. Graciela.
Okay, thank you very much, Ash, Graciela, and Sean. Okay, so nabitin ba kayo? Alright, so mamaya meron sila ulit performance along with Despareo Band. So, abangan nyo yan. Alright, for the information of everyone, we are live. Live na live po tayo sa Department of Philosophy and Humanities page sa ating. And meron din tayong attendees sa ating Microsoft link and sa Taytayan din. Okay, now let's move. The most handsome of all the faculty members in our department. Okay, so Mr. Melito C. Cruz to introduce our resource speaker, our second resource speaker.
Thank you, Sir Awi. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, and honored guests, good morning. It is our privilege to welcome our distinguished speaker. He is currently an assistant professor of the philosophy at Mapua University, where he teaches courses in logic, philosophical. He completed both his Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy cum laude and his Master of Arts in Philosophy at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. His work reflects an impressive breadth of interests, including Filipino philosophy, contemporary continental philosophy, metaphysics, bioethics, traditional healing practices, and the ethical implications of artificial intelligence. Before joining Mapua University, Sir Jairus previously served as assistant professor at the UP Department of Philosophy, where he taught both general education and major philosophy courses. He also worked in public service as senior administrative assistant in the office of the municipal mayor of San Mateo, Rizal, contributing to the governance, communications, event organization, and community-based initiatives. His scholarship has earned national recognition, including the 2023 Don Isabelo de los Reyes Essay Prize in Filipino Philosophy. Today, he joins us to share insights that inspires reflections and meaningful dialogue. So let us now welcome our second speaker, Sir Jairus Giesta Espiritu.
Thank you, sir, sa introduction. Thank you. Thank you. Kind introduction po. Good morning po to everyone at university. Assistant Professor Rodrigo Emil Carrion, my lovely wife. And my fellow students of philosophy. Good morning to everyone. My title for the talk this morning might be quite convoluted. No? But please don't get intimidated. Mas maikli yung talk ko kay Sir Emil. 50 slides lang. Yeah. So this is the outline of my presentation for today. I'll begin with an introduction of the problem, and then I'll problematize AI for a while. What is the problem with AI? And I will, like Sir Emil, I will talk about the rational animal and contrast it with what I call the voided animal. No? I was talking to Sir Emil a while ago, and I told him mukhang magkakontra yung talk natin. No? Kung siya dinedefend yung rationality ng tao against AI. Spoiler alert, no? I'm giving up on humanity. No? We will see that in a while, no? Kung bakit, no? Not without qualification, of course. No? Sige. And then I'll conclude with some concluding remarks. Yeah. The last time I was here in BULSU, I was a faculty member at UP Diliman, serving as a regional examiner for the UPCAT. Mahaba pa yung buhok ko nun. Baka yung iba hindi na ako nakikilala. I thank Sir David Floyd Rojas and Sir Gerald for the opportunity to go back after these many years. And after these many years, a lot has changed. I came here in 2017, 2018, and a lot has changed ever since. We all remember the COVID-19 pandemic back in 2020. How old were you during the pandemic? 16, wow. Nagtatrabaho na ako. Age Hindi, sa atin na lang yung age. Oh. This is a picture of, you know where this is? Quiapo. Every day, I drive by the street, natitest yung aking moral fiber because of the traffic. No? But, during the COVID-19 pandemic, ganito siya kaluwag. No? The COVID-19 pandemic has changed a lot of things. We were all prohibited to go out, and I can still remember the quarantine passes issued to each household. No? Nakakuha ba kayo nun? The quarantine passes. There were long lines to the grocery, and everything else in the mall was closed. Hindi ka makakain sa labas. I cannot remember seeing faces that year. Only face masks and face shields. During this time, during the pandemic, industries scrambled to shift online, including us in the education sector. I'm not quite sure if you have a vivid memory of 2020, but I have a vivid memory of the disruptions in school during that time. I was already teaching full-time. Classes met via Google Meet or Zoom. You use Zoom here or Google Meet? Google Meet. Different learning management systems were rolled out. I heard a while ago you used MS Teams, tama? Students were given their online accounts. Everything was done online just to keep our universities open. And thank God we are still here. From all this pandemic-driven obsession with tech, the AI revolution began. Although artificial intelligence has been around since after World War II, sabi nga ni Sir Emil, galing yan kay Alan Turing, no? In his seminal paper, Can Machines Think? Its wide popularity only began with the launch of the free-to-use ChatGPT back in 2022. Who uses ChatGPT? A majority of you. A majority of us. Yeah. Now, wala namang kaso dyan, no? At least on the surface. But, of course, let's create a problem out of it. What is the problem with AI? For the first time in the history of AI, a powerful large language model became available to the general public in ChatGPT. And ever since ChatGPT, nothing was ever the same. Its mother company, OpenAI, showed that a free-to-use generative AI large language model is actually a lucrative business model. Malaki ang kita nila dito. So many other companies followed. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Gemini, do you use Gemini? Yes. DeepSeek, who uses DeepSeek? Sometimes. Grok AI? Hindi. Twitter, yes, X. Copilot. Yes, Copilot, etc. No? There are a lot of AI models. And as generative AI models, they allow you to generate essays, papers, and for some of them, even images. Actually, my display picture on Facebook is generated by Gemini. Increasingly, these large language models are also being used as search engines, altering the way we use traditional search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo. Although I'm not familiar with AI that produces videos, a quick Google search will give you a lot of options for such tools. At a whim, you can create fake videos and avatars of yourself. Human voices are also easily mimicked by artificial intelligence today. Just last April 2024, I don't know if you have a memory of this, President Bongbong Marcos disowned a deepfake audio of him circulating online. Do you remember this, circulating online? Yeah. The audio, the supposed recording, was supposedly ordering a strike on China from the Philippines if they decided to attack the Philippines. Imagine, no? If the audio was taken seriously by the People's Republic of China, we would have been invaded a year ago. And I would not be talking in front of you today. I would have been called to the front lines in South China Sea because of my high school CAT. No? And I'm sure I wouldn't survive a day in battle. And that's all because of deepfakes, no? AI. These AI-generated videos are perhaps the most insidious among the proliferated AI-generated content today. Not everyone reads essays, and AI-generated images are oftentimes easily detectable anyway. But with AI-generated audio and video, and our current addiction to short videos like Reels or TikTok, AI-generated videos can easily fool, often with dire consequences. Every day, how many hours a day do we spend in endlessly scrolling down Reels and TikTok videos? Ilang oras? You can't count anymore? 6 hours? 6? 4. Bago matulog, 4. Just the other day, I came across this ad. Have you seen this ad? This ad on my Facebook feed is a video of Cardinal Chito Tagle apparently selling a golden rosary with blessings from Pope Leo XIV in Rome. To be honest, I almost believed it was Cardinal Tagle if I did not pay attention. Kasi diba, when you scroll down, hindi mo naman mamalayan eh. Diba? Uy, si Cardinal Tagle talking. The audio sounds like Cardinal Chito as well. I almost believe it was him. After scrolling past this ad, I took a second look. So, binalik ko. And that's when I knew he was selling golden rosaries, which was, of course, dubious for me. Why would he sell golden rosaries online? I mean, di ba? Naghihirap na ba si Cardinal Tagle? No? Kailangan niya ng racket. Upon closer inspection, the page that ran the ad was called Vatican Church Org, no? With St. Peter's Basilica as its picture. And one can admit, it's a poor representation of the Catholic Church. No? One may argue ads like this is easy to weed out, to see that it's fake. But it takes some sort of effort to actually inspect contents like this one. And if you look at the comment section, you might even find your tita typing amen, no? Followed by a pray emoji or a colorful GIF with a Bible verse. Unfortunately, that's exactly what I saw. In the comment section, people were typing amen, as if being sold a golden rosary from Cardinal Tagle is legitimate and a blessing. I didn't put it here, but the worst I saw was, while scrolling, one of them actually inputted her mobile phone number and then asking, how can I get the golden rosary po? This is my number, 09 blah blah blah. It's quite disturbing. No? Despite all these risks of misinformation and disinformation, AI has increasingly been creeping into industry. In the past year alone, 2024, different industries have reported an increase in AI integration. Look, for instance, at this chart from the March 2025 State of AI report by McKinsey and Company. You will see back in 2017, only 20% of the respondents, company respondents, use AI in at least one of their business functions. Tumaas yun bandang 2019. You can sense here it's because of the pandemic, di ba? And then it skyrocketed to 78% today. No? So 78% of companies, at least the respondents of McKinsey and Company, are already using generative AI in at least one of their business processes. Now, the rise is actually much more significant if one considers its use in more business functions. So this is now a collated chart of different business functions from 1 to 5 or more. No? So the trend is really rising. No? So 1 or more functions, 78%. 2 or more functions, 63%. 3 or more functions, 45%. 4 or more, 28%. And 5 or more, 18%. Mas maraming functions, mas konti ang gumagamit, but the point is, it's rising. The trend is on the rise. In the beginning of this whole AI fiasco, it seemed that AI was only set to take over menial jobs. No? The routinary ones, secretarial jobs, administrative jobs, jobs that, supposedly can be automated. Much like how robots has taken over factory jobs, AI was thought to do the same. This gave much of the educated class, including us, all of us here today, our much needed reassurance that we are here to stay despite the proliferation of artificial intelligence. But, and here's the problem, recent data suggests that the more high-paying a job is, the more likely AI is to take over it. Shift na? In other words, the opposite of what was projected to happen is happening. Instead of replacing menial jobs, AI is taking over jobs that require higher levels of expertise, specifically in fields involving data analytics and statistical analysis. Just recently, publication houses are actually churning out books that are AI generated. So kahit kami ni na Sir Emil at ng faculty members, our jobs of writing and teaching are slowly being replaced by artificial intelligence. Because the more higher paying a job is, the more it requires brain power, the more AI takes over it. According to a World Economic Forum article, data-heavy industries have a 60 to 70% AI adoption rate. Those without much data have rates as low as 25%. So if the job requires more data, 60 to 70% of the job is now adopting AI. With those without data, it's just 25%. As Dr. Yampolsky from the University of Louisville puts it, no job is safe. So after graduation, we all have to deal with artificial intelligence. Downer pala yung sinasabi ko ngayon. AI is now at a point where it either replaces humans who are smart enough to do what it does, or fool humans who are not smart enough to be replaced by AI. Has AI really taken over what we, humans, are good at doing? More importantly, has AI taken over what humanity is all about? Our rationality, our intelligence, our capacity for thinking. Back in October of 1950, this was referred to by Sir Emil a while ago, the British mathematician Alan Turing published a seminal work on artificial intelligence entitled Computing Machinery and Intelligence. This was the seminal paper on modern artificial intelligence because it was the first time that someone asked, can machines think? No? To answer this question, Alan Turing proposed a so-called imitation game. Are you familiar with the imitation game? No? Recently, it has become the title of Alan Turing's recently released biopic, played by no less than Benedict Cumberbatch. Has anyone watched this? Yes. No? That's coming from the paper from 1950, The Imitation Game. Actually, the film is more about Alan Turing than his work. No? It's a beautiful film, no? But the whole idea of the imitation game is actually quite simple. No? It's not that complicated. You don't have to read through the 40 pages of the paper. No? What's the imitation game? This infographic comes from Wikimedia Commons. No? The imitation, it is quite simple. No? There are two rooms, A and B. So you have the two rooms there. The interrogator C will be asking questions to A and B to determine which of A and B is human and which is a machine. Of course, the computer, in order to disguise itself as human, should imitate what the human being is doing. Thus the term imitation game. So the computer is imitating the human being so that they could fool the interrogator. No? Alan Turing himself suggested, no? During that time, that's quite revolutionary. Wow, a machine mimicking the processes of a human being, that's unheard of. No? And in 1950, Alan Turing himself suggested that, from 1950, in about 50 years' time, it will be possible to program computers to make them play the imitation game so well that an average interrogator will not have more than 70% chance of making the right identification after 5 minutes of questioning. Notice 5 minutes of chat, di ba? Do we even chat with ChatGPT for 5 minutes? Parang hindi, no? Too long. The original question, can machines think? Turing believes to be too meaningless to deserve discussion. At the end of the century, according to Alan Turing, the general educated opinion will have altered so much that no one will be able to speak of machines thinking without expecting to be contradicted. Today, more than 50 years since the publication of this work, we are living in Turing's prediction. Machines, sayang wala si Sir Emil, no? My answer kanina, can machines think? No? My easy answer is yes, they do. No? And sometimes even better than we do. No? Talagang parang akong bearer of bad news today. They can. No? It is not just, and this is more disturbing by the way, it is not just that machines have passed the Turing test. They have passed the imitation game. Even with less than 5 minutes of questioning, machines are now more human than humans. In a recent study, this was, I think, conducted in China, no? Participants have identified ChatGPT 4.5 to be, quote, significantly more often than actual humans. So among the participants, a majority of them, and more often than not, they identified ChatGPT 4.5 as more human than actual human beings. Hala. While it is easy to pin the blame on AI and call for its ban, we cannot, unfortunately, do this. We cannot blame AI itself. And this is where I think Sir Emil and I would disagree. AI is here, and it is not just a fad. It is here to stay. And I think, quite controversially, the problem with our fear is not AI. We don't fear AI because of AI. We fear its takeover because of ourselves. Diba? Nanisip ako. As Shakespeare once said, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. And in a way, this is my assertion this morning, no? That the fault is not in AI, but in ourselves. So let me go to the second part, rational animals. Since time immemorial, we have conceived of ourselves, we human beings, as rational animals. That's our thing. Our rationality has defined who we are, enabling us to lord over the rest of creation. It is, I think, by virtue of our rationality that we have been made, quote, in the image and likeness of God in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Our likeness to God is our capacity for logos, the Word who is with God, the Word who is God. This is John chapter 1, verse 1. Is everyone familiar with this? This is the Latin one. Mas maganda siya sa Latin. In principio erat verbum, et verbum erat apud Deo, et Deus erat verbum. The word logos, reason, was God. And that's our likeness to God, our capacity to reason. Di ba? Who could forget the scene in the dialogue, Phaedo, when Socrates was about to die in his cell? Hindi. Are you familiar with this painting? Yeah? This is by Jacques-Louis David. What's the title of the painting? What's the title of the painting? The Death of Socrates. The Death of Socrates. This represents the scene in Phaedo when Socrates was about to die in his cell. His followers were all around him crying. And Socrates rebuked them. Why are you crying? Sabi niya. Wondering why they were all upset. He said that he actually looked forward to death because then he would be free to seek all the knowledge that he wanted to seek, to talk to philosophers who went before him, and perhaps attain wisdom that he could not have pursued while he was still shackled by his earthly body. This is because for the ancient Greeks, reason, the seat of reason, is not the brain, no? It's not the mind, no? It's actually the soul. No? So pag namatay ka, the soul will break free and then the soul will just search for knowledge. No? Traditionally, and as Sir Emil mentioned a while ago, Aristotle mentions that it is our rationality that sets us apart from other animals. Actually, when I was preparing this lecture, I've been looking at Aristotle's metaphysics, several journal articles. No? And apparently recent scholarship questions that Aristotle actually said this, but that's for another day. So Aristotle says that rationality sets us apart from other animals, and this can easily be proven to be true. No other animal in the world is capable of complex symbolisms like we do. No other animal in the world is able to understand the world like we do. And perhaps most importantly, No other animal in the world is able to harness the forces of nature for its own good. Manufacturing, fossil fuels, nuclear energy. Have you heard of an animal sending their species to the moon? Wala. Tayo lang yan. An animal driving. Sa TikTok siguro pwede yan. Pero AI generated din yan. No? But we know for a fact that they can't. No? The marvels of the human mind have brought our civilization to where we are now, and it's all thanks to our reason. Immanuel Kant, perhaps the greatest of modern philosophers, familiar with him? Of course. He placed an even much greater importance to reason. Rather than just a mere vehicle for understanding the world, if Kant is right, 300 years after his death, reason itself creates the world around us. The world appears to us as it does, not because we can see the world directly. The world appears as it does because reason makes sense of it for us. It filters what we perceive from the world, organizes sense data into the categories of pure reason, and creates a cohesive story that completely makes sense for us. We don't see the world directly. Reason mediates reality for us. A good illustration of this comes from Bertrand Russell. No? Familiar with him? Yes. Ish. No. Ish. Bertrand Russell, in a collection of essays, Mysticism and Logic, he formulated the problem of substance. No? Sabi niya, if you place a tablecloth over a table, and you can't see nor touch the table, does the table continue to exist beneath the tablecloth? Na-imagine niyo ba? Takpan ko itong podium. Sabihin ko sa inyo, nandito po ba yung podium? What will you say? Yes, di ba? Kasi, tama naman yun. Common sense. Di ba? But if you think about it, can you directly touch or perceive the podium if I cover it? Takpan ko, halimbawa. Hindi ko pwedeng gawin. Makukulong ako. Well, you get the idea, no? Takpan ko. Hindi niyo pwedeng hawakan, hindi niyo pwedeng tingnan. Is the podium still there? Yes, di ba? But can you see it directly, even if there's a cover? No. Can you touch it? No. Right? This illustrates no, that reason requires us to assume that there is substance behind our perception of things. Assumption yun eh, di ba? But that's an assumption that's demanded of us by reason. We don't just perceive substance directly, but we know that it is there just because. Di ba? Requirement of reason. This is also partly why what makes this Instagram duo extremely funny. Do you follow them? Kilala niyo ba sila? Kilala niyo? Who knows this duo online? Hindi. Hindi. Ako lang yan. These two duo, they actually go around the world, usually in Berlin, no? That's where they're from. They do a parody of Las Vegas. No? So they carry around this flashy, shiny piece of cloth. They will cover themselves, and then they will drop the cloth, and then they will hide, as if they disappeared. Parang ganyan, no? So, tapos, what's more funny is, it's ganyan, no? It's to the tune of Celine Dion's "It's All Coming Back to Me." Yan. Parang, baby, baby. Tapos, the-drop nila, no? Di na ako kakanta, baka umulan, no? Mapaaga yung bagyo bukas. Now, it's funny, no? I recommend that you follow these duo. But, these two, like Russell's thought experiment, showcases reason's category of substance. No? We know they are there, we just don't know that they are there. That's why it's funny. Diba? This same rationality that worked wonders for us have enabled us to compute, to write, to search for information, to create images, to edit videos, etc. Everything basically that AI is able to do today. Basically, it is the same reason that artificial intelligence has rapidly been taking away from us. Reason was our thing as human beings. And we have now created a machine that co-opts our very thing. Heidegger, ang favorite ni Sir Emil, no? In an essay, What is Metaphysics, points out that reason, logos, is actually a pointing. No? Reason points to something other than ourselves. Reason points out what is there in the world, showing it to us and enabling us to show it to others. That's reason. It is therefore not surprising that philosophers and non-philosophers alike have been using the term enlightened when referring to someone who is known to exercise his reason very well. To be enlightened is to have been shown something that only a few others have seen. In other words, reason is a presentation of something. And it is this very reason that is co-opted by AI. The capacity to produce something, to say something, to symbolize something, to do something, etc. Who could forget the allegory of the cave from Plato's Republic? Diba? It's a staple for any student of philosophy. No? Hanggang ngayon, diba? Nag-masters na ako at lahat. Nakakay Plato pa rin kami. No? Prisoners in the allegory of the cave are imprisoned within the cave. They were made to only see the shadows on the cave wall. One of them breaks free, realizing that they have been looking at shadows all their lives. He then walks out of the cave, despite being blinded by the light, sees the world outside, illuminated by the sun. He then sees the sun itself, the source of everything that he sees. That story is the source and summit of reason. That's rational animal right there, as a showing. The light of reason enables us to see reality. Okay? But we have to understand that, and I do not say this lightly, no? This tradition of enlightenment, of reason showing things, reality being mediated by reason, might be mistaken, at least to my mind. The rise of AI does not show that human beings can completely be replaced by AI. Definitely not. We cannot be replaced by AI. But not by virtue of our rationality. What it points to, perhaps, is that the way we have conceived of human beings as rational animals may be mistaken. It might not be our capacity to show something that makes us humans, but our capacity for negation. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. Let's go to the second to the last section, voided animals. Being has been the central theme of philosophical speculation thus far, but the other side of it is perhaps equally important and seldom discussed, non-being. Sartre's discussion of the origin of nothingness is quite illuminating here. He begins by thinking about the act of questioning. This is from his Being and Nothingness. Allow me to make himay. Let me read. We have seen, it may be recalled, that every question in essence posits the possibility of a negative reply. Whenever you are asked something, the asking opens up the possibility of you saying no. Diba? Kunin mo nga to. Diba? Hugas ka ng pinggan. Diba? No. In a question, we question a being about its being or its way of being. This way of being or this being is veiled. There always remains the possibility that it may unveil itself as nothingness. Di ba? Pag tinanong mo naman yung kapwa mo, di ba? Tanongin mo sa katabi mo, uy, gising ka pa ba? Diba? Okay, uy, gutom ka na ba? Di ba? Yes daw. Sorry. Pero di ba, there's a possibility of saying no. Di ba? But from the very fact that we presume an existent can always be revealed as nothing, every question supposes that we realize annihilating withdrawal in relation to the given. Ano raw? Ang point ay, in asking a question, you are opening up a possibility with negation as another possibility. Di ba? Meron akong isang friend nun. Sabi niya, Sir Jai, aamin ba ako sa crush ko? Di ba? Sabi ko, umamin ka. Ganyan. Kasi pagsisisihan mo kung hindi. Sabi niya, Sir Jay, ayoko kasing mawala kung ano yung meron kami. Di ba? Sabi ko, kasi tama naman, di ba? When you ask, di ba, gusto mo rin ba ako? There's this possibility, shucks, baka ayaw niya sa akin. Pero sabi ko sa kanya, jump into the void. Di ba? Jump into the void. Umamin siya. Busted. Siyempre nagsisi ako, di ba? Nilibre ko siya ng lunch at wala siya dito. Tapos, later on, sinabihan pa ako ng asawa ko, sabi ko sa iyo, huwag mo pa aminin eh. Pero later on, pinaligaw na siya. Di ba? So sabi ko, dalawa yung point doon. No? Una, tama ako. No? Pangalawa, that very act of admitting, that's negation. No? Opening up the possibility of nothing. Di ba? That's what Sartre is talking about here. Di ba? And that's a completely human experience. To open up into the nothing, to jump into the void. Di ba? Ang sumuntok sa kawalan. Di ba? Which becomes a simple presentation. It fluctuates between being and nothingness. When we ask a question, any question at all, we distance ourselves from where we are. We assume a position that was not there before. Instead of letting things flow the way they are to flow, whenever we ask anything, we disrupt that chain. Diba? We ask disruption. We ask negation. We negate what is present. We introduce nothingness in whatever there is in the world. It is also the same nothingness that, for Alain Badiou, is the origin of truth. Alain Badiou is a contemporary French philosopher. Have you heard of him? Not so much. In instances where you don't expect anything to happen, there is nothing there, an event takes place that could potentially change the whole situation you are in. Events alter the world through the subjective act of fidelity. Falling in love, for instance, is never planned. It just happens. And it hits you that you are in love when there was supposedly nothing there. Di ba? And the heart-wrenching butterflies in your stomach moment when you don't know what you are. Di ba? That's the experience of nothing. Just last night, I don't know if you've heard of this news, Zoran Mamdani became the very first Muslim mayor of New York City. When he began his campaign, he only polled at 1%. And yet his democratic socialist agenda resonated with New Yorkers. Last night, he won 50% of the votes. As opposed to Sliwa, a Republican conservative, and Andrew Cuomo, a former governor of New York. Former governor, kakalabahanin mo. Tapos ikaw, 34 years old, ha? I'm 31. Pero there's nothing there, di ba? Wala siya nung una. But there came something out of the nothing. Di ba? Free bus rides, freezing the price of rent, taxing the wealthiest. One could have never imagined these policies to fly in the center of capitalism in the world, in the United States of America, and one could never imagine in New York City. Di ba? The richest place on earth. Socialist principles won over New York through Zoran Mamdani, practically a nothing which paved the way for truth. I took this screenshot from the Fox News Facebook page specifically, just to show, tingnan niyo yung reactions. Puro angry reacts, no? Because no one really expected him to win. No? People there, at least a lot of them, a lot of conservatives, don't really like him. Nothing. And yet there's something. No? Our capacity for negation as human beings, our ability to introduce nothingness in a world of somethingness, should perhaps be what makes human beings unique. There is no other animal in the world that could introduce nothingness in the world like we do. While a dog can refuse food, we cannot expect the dog to say no. Hindi ka na lang yung papansinin eh. More importantly, when was the last time that your pet asked you a question? Talaga may tumahol. Wala eh, di ba? They will bark at you, but they won't ask you a question. Our world today, more than a creation of reason, is actually a creation of negation. Modern democratic systems, for instance, continue to refer back to the French Revolution. Who's familiar with this painting? Diba? Lady Liberty leading the people by, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, Delacroix. Widely considered to be the birth of the modern world. For the first time in Europe, a people rejected the idea that there are God-ordained rulers who will rule until the last of their heirs. In negating the status quo, the French wanted a government based on liberty, equality, fraternity. Liberté, égalité, fraternité. Principles that democracies all over the world, up until today, hold dear, even here in the Far East in the Philippines. Tayo mismo, the Philippines, would not be a country without our capacity for negation. Saan to? Araw-araw namin dinadaanan ni Sir Emil to. Tabi ng Manila City Hall. No? It's the Kartilya ng Katipunan. From the revolt of Hermano Pule in the mountains of Laguna to the secular movement of Padre Burgos and finally the revolution of 1896, we are a nation built on negation. We rejected the idea that other races are superior than we are. We rejected the abuses of those in power, belittling the capacity of Filipinos to rule over their church and their land. And in our unique capacity to give birth to nothingness, we wiped out the colonial narrative of the Spaniards who referred to us as Indios. We're no longer Indios today. As we revolted our colonial masters, we denied them the title Filipino and claimed that as our own. Negation. And in this very town of Malolos, saan to? Baraswain. Baraswain. And in this very town of Malolos, we declared the first Philippine Republic with a constitution, the very first in Asia, negating once again the narrative that democracy is but a Western invention. It is ours as well. We owe who we are to our collective capacity for negation. Conclusion na. Tama-tama, magla-lunch na. Magla-lunch na sila. Okay. There are real and immediate risks that AI poses in our everyday lives. No? It is set to disrupt the way we have been doing things for so long. Even in my own classroom, I've been avoiding essays as a requirement for my students because I know for a fact that I will only be grading AI-generated content. Do you submit AI-generated content? Silence. So since I know that ChatGPT is widely available, I no longer require my students to submit essays. No? Even modules in my university, I don't know if Sir Emil talked about this, no? Even modules in my own university can be AI generated. Our learning management system has a built-in AI tool where I could just generate the lesson for today, I'll check, and then I will upload. Even quizzes. I even have online quizzes where it's AI that proctors the examinee. So there will be a webcam, they will download this app. There will be a webcam guarding them while they're taking the exam. And then the AI will be reporting to me if they are actually looking sideways, if someone is talking to them. No? That's the proliferation of AI in the classroom today. Teachers have now become, instead of teachers themselves, supervisors of AI. We are now checking AI and using AI as our helper. We now check AI-generated content instead of creating the content ourselves. Although, for me personally, it has been my preference to create my own modules instead of generating them with AI. We cannot avoid these risks, but we must address them. The most comprehensive listing of these risks can be read from the recently published AI Safety Report. This is actually freely downloadable, so If you want to do a quick Google search, you might want to download it. It's quite short, around 298 pages. May executive summary naman, so you can look at it. In the document, they have classified AI-associated risks into 3. Risks from malicious use, risks from malfunctions, and systemic risks. I wouldn't go into detail in these risks, no, because this is a listing of such a long and quite painful subject. I implore everyone to take a look at this document and spend time reading it. It will be very helpful. These are pressing problems that need immediate action. But, at least for me, I don't know if you would agree, we are now past the question of whether we will use AI or not. It is time to find the right level of coexistence through proper governance and AI ethics. I do not wish to reduce all these complex risks to a single problem, the problem of negation. That's a panacea. So far, I have only proposed an answer to just one question. The question of fear. Fear of being replaced by artificial intelligence. That's what I'm addressing. It might be true that AI has been rapidly replacing human beings. Yes, they do. But only in our rational capacity for something. Distancing myself from Sir Emil's talk, ibigay na natin yung rationality sa AI. Kaya nila yan eh. At mas kaya pa nila kaysa sa atin. But our capacity for negation, introducing questions, challenging authority, insisting on what was thought as nothing, brings us farther away from being replaced by AI. It is that capacity for nothingness that makes us truly and uniquely humans, and no machine can ever exercise that capacity. We all know that AI is trained by algorithms, and it definitely answers many of our perplexing questions. But the capacity to be perplexed, the capacity to perplex, to negate, will always be human. When has AI initiated a question for anyone to answer? When you open AI, do they ask questions directly to you? When has AI openly defied the status quo in pursuit of liberté, égalité, and fraternité? When has AI introduced nothingness? Perhaps only when that happens. When AI has introduced nothingness, only then should we be afraid of AI replacing humans. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, so again, thank you very much, Professor Espiritu, for that enlightening discussion. So we shall now proceed to our open forum. So we shall now open the floor, and this will be moderated by our students, Lovejoy, Christian, and Bolji. They are here for our open forum. Alright, so may I call in, dyan naman si Christian, si Lovely, tsaka si Bolji.
Nasaan yung students natin? Yung mga students natin.
Di ba dapat reactor mo?
po talaga ang AI today kasi hindi na natin alam kung saan tayo susuot o saan tayo
Ay, sobra.
paano tayo magiging complex na ngayong araw. Like parang ano ba wait, nakalimutan ko yung words niya pero sa tingin niyo ba from the future, sa tingin niyo may mga works pa kayang mapupuntahan tayo? Worth it po ba yung pag-aaral natin kung ang AI ngayon ay inaano na yung jobs natin? Sa tingin niyo ba yung AI mas maano nila yung humans? Mas overpower nila yung humans din. Sabi nga kanina sa talk na ang AI ay more humans na sa mga taong humans being. Pero may isa pa din doon na ang AI walang emotion. Hindi katulad natin mga humans may emotion tayo na kaya natin magkaroon ng feelings, kaya natin mag-isip kung hindi nila kayang isipin. And isa pang ito,
May speaker ito.
wait lang, mga anak. So yun, nawawala pala yung note ko dito, hindi ko nasama. Pero, ayun, yung mga reactors, yung takeaways ko talaga dito na hindi natin, pwede natin gamitin ng AI for ideas lang, pero tayo pa rin mismo yung magkakaroon ng idea kung paano man natin ito gagamitin. Maging, marunong lang tayong gumamit nito ng tama. Huwag sa maling paraan. Huwag yung AI yung mismong gagawa ng lahat. Huwag tayong umasa lang sa AI, kundi umasa din tayo sa sarili natin. Kasi sa sarili natin, meron din tayong kakayahan na hindi mahanap sa iba. Kasi we're all humans are unique. We're all humans have a talent. And that's all po.
Hello po, good morning everyone. I am Christian Amante from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Sciences. Thank you so much po sa wonderful speeches na binigay na sa amin for today. And may insight lang po for today. One question lang yung naging trouble sa utak ko. Is AI beneficial or is AI detrimental? It will only be beneficial if we use it right or we follow the ethical rules. But it will become detrimental if we rely on it or if we depend on it. Just like yung sinabi ni Martin Heidegger na yung danger natin or yung danger ng AI is not the automation but the existential reduction. Meaning, sa existential reduction, it is your forgetting being. Para mapurol, it makes one sharp. If we continue to rely on AI or continue to depend or make our essay, make our different projects and reflection through AI, tinuturuan tayo nito upang mas maging mapurol at hindi na mag-learn. Or when using AI, it stops us from using or from thinking outside the box. Just like another saying of Immanuel Kant, na reasoning lang naman lahat ng to, or the world is filtered by reason for us. Why not think about these three things, or three words na nasabihin ko lang galing sa mga speakers natin. First is prediction, negation, and yung void or reality. Firstly, yung prediction. Yes, tama yung mga prediction ng mga tao or mga personalities na na-mention nila na people will be dependent or will rely or technology will become prevalent in the future. Another is negation. What if, since humans are capable on manipulating the AI, since nakita nyo, di ba, ChatGPT 4.5, what if the humans that are capable of manipulating that system teach AI to negate, what do you think will happen? I think everything will be easy na. And as I mentioned kanina, na yung AI can be detrimental or beneficial. Beneficial siya. So connect ko lang siya sa major ko na science because it makes our life easy. Just like if you know the Alexa thing or Siri in your phones, you can easily command them to turn off the lights, to switch on the switches or anything. But detrimental siya if we completely or we fully depend on it or rely on it. Kailangan easier. So, hello po, good afternoon to everyone. I am Boji De Jesus Magdalas from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Sciences. And before I start with my insights about this forum or talk, I would like to thank the two amazing speakers today who taught us a lot of things. So, for my insights, I just want to point one thing. As discussed earlier, AI was created by humans, therefore humans must control AI, and not vice versa. As the introduction din kanina, we heard that even the slightest problem we encounter in our daily lives, parang agad-agad nilalapitan na natin ng artificial intelligence rather than focusing on how we should handle these small problems we encounter in everyday life na kagaya lang din ng nagagawa ng human before the invention of alternative or artificial intelligence. So, as discussed earlier, AI are now more humans than us, sabi na kanina na-flash sa screen, di ba? But it is really concerning that us humans, who are the creators of artificial intelligence, are being overpowered and being set back by AI. Kasi parang lahat na nga lang inaasa natin sa artificial intelligence, even the slightest concern we have in our daily lives. So, we are being controlled and overpowered by our creation, which is the AI. So, if nandito pa lang tayo sa era na to, wherein hindi pa fully developed or ganun ka-advance, or it can still be advanced and improved in the future. So, anong future na maghihintay sa atin if at this moment na artificial intelligence are being labeled as more human than us who created artificial intelligence. So it is really concerning and scary that we are living in a world na we created something that can replace us in the future. But at the end of the talk, after the lecture of the two amazing speakers, I just realized that it all boils down in a fact that AI may do most of the things better than we do, humans, but one thing still remains. AI is just a product of humans and not the actual fate or gods of the human being. Therefore, it is still in our hands if these products of humans, such as artificial intelligence, will take over and set back humans. And that's all. Thank you po.
Alright, so thank you very much to our three intelligent reactors. Now may I ask the audience, meron po bang gusto magtanong? Taas lang kayo. Okay, so may magtatanong doon. Please address who's professor. Are you asking? Okay, your name is?
Hello po, I'm Claire Batak from College of Social Science and Philosophy under Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And I would like to ask Sir... Sorry. Si Sir Rodrigo po. Ayun po. I would like to ask, it may sound nakakatawa ng konti yung context, pero I hope I will get the answer from this. In a perspective of an AI philosophical researcher, in this era where advanced technologies become more popular and our source of reliance Is it okay to be an AI literate rather than AI literate that is more reliant on that?
Okay, thank you for the question. But let me just to make it clear. So your question is it okay for us to be, or for me as a researcher, is it okay for me to be AI
No,
literate?
is it okay for certain people or general people to be AI illiterate rather than AI literate that is on your point more reliant on that po?
Oh, okay. So, is it okay for the general public to be either AI literate or AI illiterate? So parang you would want to keep the information of AI. Okay, I know where you're coming from, no? But just to share this experience, actually, Sir Jairus and I, we are very much engaged into AI research. In fact, kailan ba yun, Sir Jairus? Yung we had the AI summit, no? When we were the ones who reported about last month, we had an AI summit in Mapua University, and we were the one tasked to provide the points, no, for AI. But those points which we have encountered were actually an amalgamation, a summary, no, of all the liberal arts professors of the university. And one thing that we can conclude is that if we are to check on the benefits, no, against the disadvantages, it would be more beneficial not only for the university, not only for the area, not only for the certain subject, but for the general population as well, to be more AI literate. And I'm saying this not because we are talking about AI, but I'm saying this because of these grounds. No? First, if people, or if we think that it would be better that people would not be AI literate or would be AI illiterate, no, then these people might be immediately swayed by whatever AI generated content there is. Just like the example of Sir Jairus a while ago, no, yung kay Cardinal Tagle. If we want to gatekeep the technology of AI, I would definitely say that when the natural circumstances would say that no, we cannot, because this is already an emerging technology. And as what I have mentioned in my talk a while ago, sometime before, we also talked about computers. Sometime before, we also talked about the Gutenberg press. Sometime before, we talked about wheels. Sometime before, we talked about contraptions and so on. So, on my view, on my take on the matter, it would always be best to be AI literate. But I would not stop there. Allow me to probably add on that matter. We should not be just simply be AI literate, but we must remain to be reflective of what are the effects of AI and how are we going to use AI for that matter. I think yun yung meat ng talk namin. But thank you very much for that question. It's a very curious question.
Alright, so thank you very much. Okay, last one question. Ayan, okay. So yung una kong nakita pasensya na yung mga, okay. Alright, so your name and from what college are you?
So my name is EG Stevens from DSME na engineering po. So I have a question for Sir Espiritu po. So what is your advice to those people who are reliant on AI, since a lot of students here are using AI and we're like being so reliant on AI. Like even sinabi ni po kanina dito na even sa own perspective, we rely on AI. So I would like to ask what is your advice to those students who really rely on AI rather than themselves?
Thank you for the question, Sir De La Cruz. Yes, I think I'll go back to Aristotle in this aspect. Anything over the top, anything in excess is always bad. But the question on AI literacy is also important. I think at this day and age, and this is just I don't know if Sir A would agree, it's no longer wise not to use AI. We need to learn how to use it. As a matter of fact, I don't have the exact numbers, but the Philippines has the highest number of ChatGPT users worldwide. Right?
Pilipinas. But we are one of the lowest countries in terms of AI literacy. That's a bad combination. So when we use AI, so that, sabi nga sa inyo kanina, at least we won't be ignorant of scams, at the same time we won't be ignorant of new tools, because AI really does make our life easier. Diba? But when we over-rely on AI, we, instead of enhancing our jobs, when we over-rely, we now, parang na silang mga independent contractors that replace us. So instead of enhancing what we do, they replace what we do. So the challenge is, and this is, I think, where the problem is, because AI is so skilled in providing answers, churning out essays, images, as the user, you have to be better than AI. So when you ask ChatGPT to write an essay for you, you need to be able to check whether there are inconsistencies, whether the style is bad, but to do that, your skill has to be higher than the skill of AI. So my personal advice is, you think, don't over-rely, and if you think that you are, parang addiction lang, diba? When you over-rely, you pause for a while, fasting. Just want to share with you, kaka-fasting mo sa technology. This is the phone that I use. Matagal kong nilabi sa asawa ko to kasi biro niya ako video call. Kumain naman. Pero it's a good way of having detox once in a while. So once I go home for 2 hours, kahit sa rin nagagalit sa akin. Hindi ako nagagalit talaga. Pero once I go home, meron akong detox the whole day kasi wala sa akin yung smartphone ko. Once I go home, saka ako Facebook, saka ako mag-Instagram. So just like the AI, don't over-rely. Have some time writing on your own and have some time writing with AI. I hope I answered that.
Thank you. Alright, so thank you very much. I think 2 questions are enough kasi actually we're running out of time. Okay, thank you to our distinguished professors for answering questions very well. Okay, so now let's proceed with the awarding of certificate. Okay, so may I call in Dean Sherwin, our Dean from the College of Social Sciences and Philosophy, Sir Celso, our OIC Program Chair, and Sir Floyd, our Project Lead for this year's celebration of Philosophy Day. Let me read the certificate. Republic of the Philippines, Bulacan State University, City of Malolos, Bulacan, presents this certificate of appreciation to Assistant Professor Rodrigo Emil M. Carrion and Assistant Professor Jairus Jessica Espiritu in recognition of his distinguished contribution as a resource person during the academic seminar conducting in the observance of the UNESCO World Philosophy Day 2025 titled Tao Ka, Tao Ka Pa Ba? Artificiality and Authenticity, Rekindling Personhood, Roles and Justice. The scholarly insights and professional engagement have significantly enriched the intellectual discourse and pedagogical value of the event, thereby advancing the academic mission of the university. Given this 6th day of November in the year of our Lord, 2025 at Bulacan State University E-Library Amphitheater, City of Malolos, Bulacan, signed, Jody C. San Andres, PhD, University President. Immediately afterwards, we will proceed with picture taking with the faculties from the College of Philosophy, Social Sciences and Philosophy, Philosophy and Humanities Department. Tinatawagan po lahat ng mga faculty members para po mag-photo op sa ating mga speakers. Okay, now let's hear from our deans. Okay, now let us hear the promised intermission number. Okay, from our selected College of Social Sciences and Philosophy Psychology major. And, tara na. Ayan, so bakit magsalita ang ating dean ay isang intermission number movie, no? Mula sa ating mga students from CSS and CIP.
Hello everyone! Ito po ulit kami. Kayo po ba nasiyahan sa kanta namin kanina? Okay, sige, kakanta ulit kami. So can we request everyone to open their flashlight and join with us? Wait na ako yung Dito sumayaw muna ako. Joke lang. Kasi kayo kakanta. Parang may kasusuwayaw dito ako. Kumakain ako eh.
So, ayan.
So our first song is With a Smile by Marisa Faye.
You don't have to worry, 'cause the rain Alright, so congratulations sa dali-dali na mga performers. As we come to the conclusion of today's insightful and meaningful celebration, we recall our esteemed Dean of College of Social Sciences and Philosophy, Dean Sherman Parinas, for his closing remarks.
Thank you very much po to our Master of Ceremonies, President Vishudase, Sir Awi, to our resource speakers, Sir Jairus and Sir Rodrigo, tama po ba? For having shed light on the matter. My apology for I wasn't able to listen to the full stretch discussion for I also have to attend to another activity ng college. It's of course a benchmarking from our friends from the City College of San Fernando, benchmarking our social work program naman po. But then again, it's always not I have this assumption that what was discussed this morning was actually something that our students really have to ponder on. Kasi ba, ang tema kasi natin ang ganda tao ka pa ba? Okay? And actually, our humanity has always been a challenge, or always been challenged since time immemorial. Kasi, di ba, pag pinag-uusapan natin yung existentialism, isa lang naman lagi ang tanong dyan why am I here? Di ba? And if, for example, our theme is about artificial intelligence and authenticity, diba? It's always a matter of attitude on how we view artificial intelligence. It has been there, it has been existent, and in fact, we have been co-living with artificial intelligence. In fact, what ang tatanungin natin is, how is it to preserve our authenticity? Ang totoo lang yan, di ba? We hate flaws. We hate struggles. But you know what? What makes us more authentic are those flaws and struggles. Because artificial intelligence don't know it. Diba? What artificial intelligence provides is what we call a hyper-reality. Diba? Matatandaan niyo sa Plato, ayaw nga niya ng art eh. Because art is a poor copy daw. Diba? A poor copy of a perfect world. But artificial intelligence, I believe, for me, is something with which we have to co-live. Why? Because it is intended for us to make ourselves better. Diba? Alam niyo pagka pinag-usapan ancient philosophy, classical philosophy, hindi na mawala si Aristotle sa repertoire ko eh. Particularly yung kanyang eudaimonia. In fact, di ba kayo nag-gesture ako sa inyo, and I made mention about eudaimonia, how it means how it is the tawag natin interpreted as human flourishing. And I think artificial intelligence is actually meant here, and to complement our human existence. Not actually a threat somehow, although it really poses a threat. Kasi parang it somehow dehumanizing humanities, parang gano'n dehumanizing the human. Parang gano'n siya, no? Pero we have to have a different attitude towards that. Kasi technically, nothing can take away the authentic existence na meron tayo. Okay? Kung sinasabi ni Sartre that there is despair, na pwede natin kaisan yun, pero sa bandang dulo, yun pala yung nagiging dahilan kung bakit mas nagiging tao tayo. Diba? Kaya nga diba sinabi ni Sartre, there's life, opposite despair. Yung tinatawag natin anticipation. Yung tinatawag, this anticipation is for us to look forward to. To look forward for what? To better existence, to a more authentic existence. We don't exist for authentic existence doesn't mean existing for the sake of authenticity. Kasi nawawala yung naturality dun eh. Diba? At yun yung wala sa artificial intelligence. It may provide us hyper-reality, it may provide us a more human life, parang ganun siya. Kasi nga may limitations tayo. Okay? But then again, these limitations are meant for us to overcome. Diba? Yung sinasabi ni Nietzsche kanina, Superman. That we have to maximize all our potentials. And in so doing, in that particular lights, artificial intelligence is here. Pero, I just forgot to say this. Sabi diba, technology can substitute man's hands, but never man's hearts.
Okay, so we have to cling on to that heart that we have because that makes us real human. So with that said, thank you very much for having attended this particular philosophical forum, and may we all learn from this particular day. Thank you very much. Alright, so thank you very much. Our esteemed. Alright, so, and that concludes our World Philosophy Day celebration 2025. So may we continue to seek truth, question reality, and live authentically, ever in an age shaped by artificiality. So with that, once again, I am your host, saying, Happy World Philosophy Day!